And good afternoon, and welcome to another segment of the Black Male Community Council, Boots on the Ground, Black Man Standing. We're so happy that you're joining us today. We've had some great segments. Last week's segment was so fantastic with Stanley Crawford and Ron Waters, and we're back here again today to have another exciting discussion and conversation with the one and the only Deborah Kelly. Deborah Kelly is an educator. She is a wonderful individual that has dedicated her energy and her spirit to causes in the black community in Philadelphia. And one of those causes is the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia. And we're so proud of her because she also, Deborah heads up the black female support team for the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia. And I just want to say, welcome, Deborah. How you doing?
Thank you, Brother Kofi. Thank you for inviting me.
We're so glad to have you, and I'm really glad to have you because we've been working together on a few different projects. So, wow, it's about 5 or 6 years now.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
And you always bring your A game. You always bring that energy and that spirit and clarity to a situation that really helps to be able to move to a better level. And I've always appreciated that about you, and still do. You're a mother, wife, recently a grandmother.
Yes,
And
yes.
I know you're proud about that.
Yes, I am.
And you, as I said earlier to the audience, you have been a driving force as it relates to the Black Female Support Team of the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia, and we thank you for that. But knowing that you, and you're also an author. You've written a great book on parenting, which we want to talk about in this detail. But you have some of the bits and pieces that I've learned about you. I find quite interesting in terms of your journey as a black woman standing up for who you are and standing up for your people. I'd just like you to tell our audience about Deborah and why do you think your journey has taken you to follow in this path?
Well, I feel blessed. I've had a lot of experiences. I'm a retired teacher,
Okay.
and going through the experience of educating black children, I realized that they were not doing as well as they could have done. They were underperforming their true ability.
Okay.
And so I looked at what are the reasons why our children are not doing as well as they are. In history, we look at history, we are the people who created math and science and civics and family life, and we were the rulers of the world at one time. And I said, why are we underperforming? When I look at the situation, I said, what's going on in the homes? Some of them weren't interacting with their parents. Some of them, unfortunately, when they started kindergarten, they were deficit at that point. They did not know their alphabet, numbers, geometric shapes, phonics, the sounds of the alphabet, the days of the week, the months of the year, all of that important information that teachers build upon, because teachers teach best when we build upon previously learned information.
Okay.
And some of our students were not starting kindergarten with that basic information. So it's unfair that teachers, kindergarten teachers, sometimes will relegate those students who are not on the level of other students to the periphery. They don't
Okay.
teach to them because learning is sequential. If
Okay.
they're down here, she can't start up here. So she starts where those students who are ready to learn are. So what happens? Little Johnny knows that he's being ignored.
Okay.
So he becomes a behavior problem.
Okay.
And that behavior problem, that reputation lasts him for 12 years because, teachers, they shouldn't, but they look at
That's right.
the records of some students. And so he knows that he is not being treated fairly. He's not being treated the same as other students. So he becomes a behavior problem, unfortunately. That could be avoided if parents prepare your children for the educational learning process.
Okay.
And that starts in the homes.
Well, let me ask you: do you believe that it's systematic? If some of the parents of the children are not prepared, and that I seem to think that has been going on for a few generations. Is it systematic based on either genocide or the ruling upper class?
I think it's lack of knowledge on our part, and also systematic, because this information is kept from most parents. When I was growing up, you've heard parents be told children are seen and not heard.
I heard that.
Well, how do they develop their speaking formations, their speaking skills? Well, they have to speak in order to develop those speaking skills. You have to talk to a child in order for them to develop listening skills, active listening skills. And it doesn't have to be a formal process. The more you talk to your child, the smarter your child's going to be. Every environment is a learning environment. So walking down the street, filling your child's head with as much knowledge and information expands the ability to take in information. It helps them to concentrate. And memorization is a skill. So we come to this earth knowing nothing, and everything is learned. How we fit into this world, our value is learned from our parents. If our parents tell us we're bad, and we internalize that, self-fulfilling prophecy says we're going to do bad things.
That's right.
But if we think that we're good people, then self-fulfilling prophecy says that we're going to do good things. And we feel good about ourselves, and we can go forward into the world with self-actualization. It's up to parents from the very beginning to educate or to fill that child's head with positive messages about who they are, positive images about who they are, how they fit into this world, because we all have a purpose and value, and we should be validated at a young age before we even enter a formal education environment. And we as parents have the power to do that.
Let me ask you this: the book that you have written, is that what it focuses on?
Well, it focuses on a lot of things. It's called The Turnaround: Parenting Tips for Improving Your Child's Academic Success, How to Make Your Child Smarter, Learning Ready, and Nonviolent.
Do me a favor, right? Tell the people in the camera that. Show them your book. Put your book up, right? And tell that to the audience.
Okay. It's How to Make Your Child Smarter, Learning Ready, and Nonviolent. Because, knowing how to love, knowing how to respect people, we learn it directly and indirectly in the homes. We're watching our parents, whether they know it or not. So, how they treat their children, how they treat other people, that is what our children see, and they're going to imitate.
Wow.
And so that's really powerful. So parents have to realize that how they behave, how they act, how they speak to other people,
and what's the name of the book?
How they speak to their children as well, is helping them to develop who they are.
And the name of the book
is
The Turnaround?
The Turnaround: Parenting Tips for Improving Your Child's Academic Success.
I like that name, The Turnaround.
So that your child will not start school deficit. Because unfortunately, as I said, some teachers will not take the time to bring your child up to where the other children are. I did a summer program for people who do not look like us, European. And to realize that before they entered kindergarten, these young children, 3 and 4, could count to 100 in several languages. And I thought, oh my goodness, what are our children learning? Now, I know that some parents, they want their children to be educated and to get a good education as anybody else. But to realize that if you put your child in a classroom with other children at kindergarten who can count to 100 in several languages, what is that teacher going to do most likely?
Well, we understand that, or there's a lot to be said that the playing ground is not fair.
No, it's not.
It's uneven, it's lopsided as it relates to black and brown communities versus our white counterparts. We get that, right? And you talked a lot just about the family structure. And when we look at our families, 70% of the families across America are run by single women,
Yes.
right? The question is then, where is the male? Where is the man? Where is the black man standing up for their families, their children, their survival, ourselves in the midst of what we find ourselves here in America, the melting pot?
Yes.
Is that part of your reason that you support the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia?
Oh, definitely. Our men are so important. I've heard women say, "Oh, I don't need a man to help me to raise my child." Research shows that your child will do better in school if there's a father in the home, a positive male image in the home. The reason I work so hard is because we see what's going on to destroy our families, not to help us. Can you imagine going through slavery all of those years and then being tossed out and say, okay, now start a family on your own and know exactly what to do? Well, we had forgotten through the generations and what we did in Africa to develop successful families, and we had to start from ground one, making so many mistakes. And then once we became, I come from the era of most fathers were in the home. I look at my aunts and uncles, they had husbands and they were in the homes at that time. It was an exception for a man not to be in the home. And I appreciate that I was raised with a dad to show me what a true man was. He was a man who mentored in the community. He worked hard. He became an entrepreneur, a business owner. Also his brothers were, I had good examples around me. I feel blessed.
Oh, wonderful.
And when you are blessed, I feel that service is the price you pay for the blessings that you receive. So it's an honor to work with brothers like you and Stanley Crawford and other brothers, because I do consider you as my brothers.
Without question.
We've developed like a family.
Yes.
We break bread together. And it's so important because we realize that systematically something is going on with mass incarceration that took the male out of the homes. I used to teach teachers how to teach.
Okay.
And one of the contracts was a minimum security prison. I went in there and I would leave there in tears and nobody would listen to me in terms of, we have to do something about this. All of these young teenage boys in there for selling marijuana that now the government sells for a profit. Teenage boys, can you imagine in their formative years being incarcerated? And that's what happened. This prison was behind Neshaminy Mall. That's where I would go once a week.
Okay.
And left there with tears in my eyes.
Wow.
I don't know where those young men are now, but I go into prisons sometimes for various reasons. I taught employment readiness skills and also parenting skills.
Okay.
And it is filled. It's a city of black men.
Well, yes.
It breaks my heart. So in order to save my soul and to save me, I have to be active to counter what's going on.
Wow.
Because, the Constitution says, promises give us life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness is to be able to own property, to raise your children, to live in a peaceful community, to have, not all these guns in the community, which they claim they don't know how these guns are coming into the community. And I'm baffled by that because they can tell us everything else going on and come to your door and, and so that is what I feel, the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia is striving for.
Wow.
Just the pursuit of happiness. And we want our communities to be safe.
Well,
we want fathers back in the
this,
homes.
As a black woman, how does that make you feel to be a part of at least something that is trying to make a difference? How does that make you feel?
Well, it's actually saving my life.
Get out of here.
It is, because if I did not do something to counter it, as I was saying, I would implode. I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
Wow.
Because I can see when you assess the strategies and techniques that they're using, if you don't do anything to counter it, you would implode. How can you sit back and say, wow, that strategy, that technique, it's working for them.
Right.
Because we're where they want us to be. The man is not in the homes. Our children are not doing well in school. When they graduate from high school, some of them can't read and write.
Let alone the violence that's in the streets.
The violence, the guns, killing. Well, we know on the news, every day, killings in our community. People are afraid, women, children, elderly are afraid to walk out of their homes. You know? It's dire.
It
And
is dire.
I don't understand how individuals can just sit back and watch it and not do anything.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. The Black Male Community Council, the four pillars that we stand on in terms of security, cleanup, education, and mediation, is our way of being able to move the needle. But we know that we cannot do it without the support of our women. And I'm so proud of the Black Women Support Team and what you do for us. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it is a pleasure to be a part of the Black Female Support Team. I was one of the original members, and we do want to support our men because for so long, when this women lib thing came about years ago, I thought to myself, uh-oh, this is an agenda.
Okay.
And we see where now the black woman is taking black men's jobs, and the black man is not even a contender because they're not prepared, but they're preparing black women. And so it is my honor to help black men succeed in their mission. And your mission with cleaning up the streets and making sure that the streets are safe, and your educational component, and this new beautiful building, which you're training individuals to get jobs so that they're able to take care of their families. You know that there are laws that stipulated, if a black woman got assistance from the government,
right,
that the black man could not be there.
Not be in the household.
All planned.
Yes, without question.
And so, for black men to stand up and make a change and just demand our liberty and our rightful what is owed to us by the government. The government is not providing for it. So our black men have to stand up. So I do not take the initiative with your projects and what you want to do. I am here to support, and other women are here to support you. If you have activities that go on, we are there as a hospitality to be a part of the administration, to do some media, to do whatever is needed behind the scenes, because we don't always have to be seen, but behind the scenes to help you in your mission is beneficial for us.
Well, where do you see the Black Male Community Council 5 years from now, and where do you want to see that 5 years from now?
Well, I want to see the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia be a resource hub that if anybody wants a second chance, anybody who wants to get on their feet, they want to be employed, to gain employable skills, to gain knowledge, information, and also for somebody to help them to get a job.
Okay.
That they can come to this center. For parenting, because parenting is so important. They say, oh, there's no books for parenting. Oh, yes, there are books for parenting. And there's knowledge in parenting.
It's a turnaround.
What they did, they took away spanking, because that's all we knew, really, how to discipline.
Sure,
but there are other ways to discipline and keep that self-esteem intact.
Exactly.
Because that's so important, to guide them and direct them, channel them in the right direction, but not tear them down.
Okay.
So you don't want to do that.
No.
You want to keep their core belief system about who they are intact.
That's right.
So that they know that they are not bad, but what they made just an incorrect or a decision that was not proper.
Wow.
So you want to distinguish that. Your child is not bad. They're just making incorrect decisions and choices for themselves. So that's important to know that. So your question in terms of what I see this beautiful building accomplishing, and also down the street,
yes,
is for training, to get individual jobs, to still go into the community, to educate, to make sure that it's safe, that we develop mentors who go into the community, who mentor young boys who
Yes.
don't have fathers.
Yes.
Because a woman really cannot teach a man how to be a man.
That's right.
I can, give them advice, but they're watching me, and I'm going to handle things like as a woman handles a thing.
That's right.
But he needs a mentor. He needs a man to help him to navigate in this community, the city, the United States, and the world, because this is a global economy. It's just not about us, but it's about the world.
Without question.
And when you talk about the world and Africa and how they don't have control over their raw materials and their natural resources, it's appalling how the world has stood back and let what happened in Haiti, in Africa, what's going on. No European country would be allowed to be treated that way.
That's right.
As Africa today is, with still paying taxes to Europe just for their freedom. They don't have control over their natural resources.
That's right.
The diamonds, rubies. You can't develop a television or a cell phone without ingredients from Africa.
And that's why I think the title of your book is so appropriate. I believe that there is a turnaround. I believe that there's a turnaround on those levels, and there are people that continue to fight and making things turn around from that perspective on a world stage. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly that we do not have the respect that is due us as people of African descent.
Yes.
But I believe that even with the Black Male Community Council, as whatever little smidget we play, that we can make a difference to turn things around. It is about the turnaround. And I believe it's happening each and every day. Even when we don't see it, it's happening. Because I also believe that it's God's mission that is going to move us in terms of the freedom of who we are, the freedom of our spirituality, the freedom of a black man standing to do the right thing.
Yes.
And I'm so, again, proud and happy about Deborah Kelly and other women that support what we do. And I want to thank you, Deborah, for coming and sharing today. If you had some last minute things to say to our audience about the Black Male Community Council and our future, what would it be? And you can speak to them right in that camera right there.
Well, I just want to say that all of us should have a part in our upliftment and our development in our communities. We each can do something to help the gun violence, to help our children who are not being prepared to navigate in this world. Dr. Carter G. Woodson said, when you control the man's thinking, you control the man. If you make a man feel inferior, he will seek an inferior status on its own. If there's no back door, he will cut one for his own convenience. Those are powerful words. So we have to raise children who believe in themselves, who are risk takers, who go forward, that they're not hindered by low self-esteem and lack of courage and lack of who they are. We have to teach our history to them because we have a great history, and they have to know who they are when they go forward into this world. So I would say, don't give up, because if you give up, then you've been beaten. So don't give up, keep going, and you will be successful.
We still rise.
Yes, still I rise.
Still I rise.
Yes,
Well,
it's all in
thank
the
you.
mind.
It's all in the
mind.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. Wow, it's been a great interview. Your words are so powerful and encouraging. And again, I got to go back to the title of your book, The Turnaround. The Turnaround. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to turn this thing around. The Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia, Boots on the Ground, Black Men Standing. We thank you for tuning in again, and we'll be right back at you. Peace and blessings.